How many listings do you need to start or launch your print-on-demand business with? That is the question, and that is what I want to talk about today because I am currently listing and launching my brand new print-on-demand business. If you weren't familiar, I started a brand new shop from scratch. I just recently put a few of my very first listings in it, and today my goal is to really build out a few of the different sub-niches, which we'll talk a little bit more about that later in this video. Is there a specific number of listings that you need to have when starting your print-on-demand business? I don't think so. I don't personally have a specific number. I know when I first was starting my original print-on-demand business, I often saw get to 100 listings, or sometimes there was the crazy advice of, oh my gosh, you need 1,000 listings. That's extreme. I definitely don't think that that is necessary whatsoever. And I don't even really necessarily think 100 is necessary. To be quite honest, I don't think the number of listings that you have or need to have is something that matters at all. Honestly, it's more so about the quality of any listing that you create. But I do think that there is a benefit in having a page turner. What I mean by that is having enough listings that if somebody were to find a listing of yours in the search results, jump to your Etsy storefront, they would be able to see a page worth of listings. This is about 40 listings. The reason that I find it beneficial to have a page worth of listings is not because having a page worth of listings is going to make you get sales. That is not what I'm saying here at all. I find the value in having a page full of listings being that if a customer, when they come to your storefront, they see that you have other products, you, in my opinion, look a little bit more trustworthy, a little bit more reputable, because you have multiple things in your shop. Maybe that's just a me thing. That's definitely a personal opinion. That is not hard, cold fact. You have to do it like that. That's just what I feel, and that is my goal with my new shop today. I currently have 4 listings in my new shop, and I would like to hopefully fill in a page worth of listings today. That is going to be quite the task. But I wanted to take you along with me, show you a little bit of the process, what I'm focusing on, my strategy, and yeah, so let's get to it. If you haven't seen the first 2 episodes in this series of starting my brand new shop from scratch, I will be sure to have them linked in the description box below. But just to get you up to speed and to summarize, I am creating a niche specific shop. My original print-on-demand shop is what I would consider more of a product specific general shop. This is the route that I see most brand new print-on-demand sellers take. And so that was what I was seeing a lot of online when I was researching and learning about print on demand. So that is what I carried into my strategy when I established that shop. I sell primarily 3 different product types in that shop, but it all started with apparel. That was my main product category, and I sold that product category into tons of different niches. That strategy has worked for that shop. That shop has done really well, but I'm taking a little bit of a different approach with this new shop, and I am looking to be more niche specific. This shop is primarily going to be centered around one niche, and instead of just focusing on primarily one product type or product category, I am going to be exploring a multitude of different product types. Now, the best way for me to see sales and see success with this new shop is going to be to find the smaller sub niches within my broad niche as a whole. So let me explain what I mean by that. If you imagine the pet niche is a more broad category, but still a specific niche. Inside the pet niche, you have tons of specific types of maybe dogs, cats. Those are 2 smaller branches of the pet niche. You can even break it down simpler from there. You could go into specific dog breeds like a Yorkie mom or a golden retriever mom. The deeper you get down into the niche is where I find there's usually the most opportunity for something that's a little bit less competitive, and that is my focus with the initial listings that I'm building out in this shop. I have what I'll call my umbrella niche that everything is going to fall down into, but I want to find some more specific sub niches of that broad niche so that I can build my shop with those first. I'll be able to see a lot more views, favorites, and hopefully sales as a result, because I'm going to be targeting things that are still in demand, but a lot less competitive than maybe some of the niches that are in my broad niche that are maybe higher up the chain, if that makes sense. And so that is my strategy. That really was my same strategy when it came to my original shop as well. Of course, I was a little bit more explorative. I was tapping into multiple different types of niches, more broad niches, and then branching down into those. But even with that approach, I still always was looking for really two main metrics to drive what I was going to target, and that was search volume and competition. As I mentioned earlier, I've already created 4 listings. Yay, 4 listings. These 4 listings are all within the same smaller sub niche that I found when I started doing my research. The main way that I like to go about my research is finding the 2 metrics that I mentioned, search volume and competition. The goal is to find something that kind of looks like this, ideally. High search volume, low competition. Finding keywords like that is going to give me a better opportunity in identifying where there is a demand in the market. This is just the first part of my research strategy. The second part is really validating that there is profit to be made and understanding what is actually selling when people are looking for these specific search terms. That is where I like to jump over to Etsy, and that is where I like to use Everbee. I've talked about Everbee a lot on my channel because it is one of my go-to favorite tools, and Everbee is where I am going to look for some of these keywords that I've found that are high search, low competition, and scan the search results. I like to see what types of designs are selling, not because I'm going to create anything that looks like those designs, but because I want that to drive a unique perspective and see where I can add value, see where I can bring something new to the niche that I'm looking to sell in. I also want to get a good understanding of what do the monthly sales look like for the products that are in this category. Yes, there's search volume. Yes, there's not a ton of competition, but are people actually buying the products? And with Everbee, I can actually see the estimated monthly sales as well as the estimated monthly revenue. That can be helpful in actually going into some of these specific listings, identifying where they're pricing different products at, because I'm looking to tap into multiple different product types. I'm going to also have to do some research on my pricing strategy as I do explore new product types. But this is where I can get a lot of that information so that when I go to create products, create listings, I have everything that I need at my fingertips. It's been confirmed, it's been validated, and I feel a lot more confident going into creating that listing, knowing that I have the data behind it. Doing this research, understanding the keywords that are being searched for, that are in demand, looking on Etsy, finding the validation that these products are even selling in these niches and when people are looking for these specific keywords. All of this is just to give me more of an educated guess towards what I'm creating, and that what I'm creating is going to be successful. This isn't necessarily foolproof. It's going to require more work on my end as I start to list items based off of this research. And that is where I'm going to really be diving into the data that my shop is giving me. Because I already have 4 listings in my shop, I want to show you a little bit of the data that I'm seeing so far and how I can start interpreting this for what I do with my future listings. I am excited that I already have views and visits in this shop. Like I said, only 4 listings. I have 27 views so far this month, 22 visits. That is very promising data. Now we just need to see if we can not only keep increasing our views and our visits, but let's also see how we can increase sales. A perspective that I want to share though really quick, because I'm looking at these metrics, a lot of times I will see new sellers get discouraged when they have views and visits that look like this. They have 27 views, 22 visits, and they haven't seen a sale yet. But realistically, I would not expect for this shop to see a sale yet with this type of data. Because if you think about what the average conversion rate is for a Etsy shop or an e-commerce business in general, typically the average conversion rate is somewhere between 1 and 3%. Anything over 3% is above average. And that just really comes down to your value offer, offering something that the competitors around you aren't offering, being unique with your designs and the things that you are selling in your shop. That is ultimately how you increase that. But if I were to just take this data right here, if I was just aiming for a 1% conversion rate and hoping to see 1% of customers convert, I would not even see 1% until I was at 100 views. If I had 100 views, one person bought something, that would bring me to a 1% conversion rate. So I am only about 25% of the way there, and that's okay. That is normal. If we do dive into my listings, what I can start to pay attention to is what listings are seeing more views than others, and are any of them seeing any favorites yet? That can also be a really great indicator for me, and I'm going to explain to you what I would do with this information. I have these 4 listings, and with these 4 listings, 2 of them are exactly the same product. They are exactly, well, they're all the same product, but 2 of them are the exact same design on the product. The reason that I have 2 of the same design listed 4 times is because I've duplicated listing A, we'll call it, so that I can cross-test 2 different mock-up images. This is something that I've really found beneficial in my existing shop, understanding what types of mock-ups are just going to perform better for specific niches and specific product types. So that's what I'm looking to explore here. Listing B, we'll call it, again, is a different design than listing A, but has been duplicated 1 time, so 2 separate listings. And again, I'm just testing 2 different versions of mock-ups because I'm exploring a completely different product type that I haven't yet sold before. Because these listings are so new and my shop is so new, there's not a lot going on here. Also, I do want to add, I am not running Etsy ads yet. I do plan on adding in Etsy ads as a component to growing and building this shop, because if you did not know, I'm a big believer in Etsy ads, and I have a whole strategy when it comes to them that I'm excited to document throughout this process and share with you also. But I'm not running Etsy ads yet, so these are all purely organic views. If we look at listing A, these are both listing A, 2 different mock-up images for them. Both of these have had 4 visits in the last 30 days. Listing B, we can see that one of the listings has 2 more visits than the other. This listing has 6 visits, the other has 4, and this isn't a ton of information quite yet, but what I would start to pay attention to is if listing B has one of the listings with a different mock-up start to really outperform the other, say this 6 turns into 600, and the other listing never really gets past that 4, or maybe it just stays significantly lower, to me, that's an indicator that I might want to reuse that mock-up image that I've used in the listing that is outperforming the other more often than the other mock-up image. That's just one way that I can start to gather some data from these listings. Another thing that I can gather here is these are all in the same sub-niche, and they do all have the exact same SEO. They all have the same exact title and the same exact tags because they're completely relevant to each of these listings and to both of the designs in them. Because each of these listings has views, I know that this SEO is getting these listings in front of eyeballs. That is the goal. We want the listings to be shown to people. If I didn't see any views here at all, the first thing that I would reevaluate is my SEO. But because I'm starting to see some visits, I am not going to make any modifications with my title or tags at this point. Data is truly the reason why I was able to grow my original shop at the pace that I did. I really prioritized anytime I saw any bit of data, views, favorites, sales. That's like the ultimate form of data, but we don't always start there. We usually just start with the views and then some favorites sprinkled in. Really just using that data though is what drove my decisions and what I created for in my shop. This is a strategy that I really encourage all print-on-demand sellers to get acclimated to and really use in their shop. Using the data, you have so much data at your fingertips, and that is going to help drive where you head with your shop to actually grow it. You don't have to wait for sales to happen to make your account grow. You can actively be diving into your data, doing the research, making it happen, and grow your account so much faster. Let's get into listing. I have the one niche or sub niche of my big niche, umbrella niche. I feel like that's very confusing. I'm hoping that that makes sense. I'm gonna probably give some visuals on the screen to what I mean when I say umbrella niche, and I hope that it makes sense. The point of this is I'm going to continue building out that category. I generally try to create a minimum of 25 unique designs for a given niche when I am building it out. For the reason being, I'm a data girl. As I mentioned, data is going to be key to driving the decisions that I make in my shop. When you think of data like a science experiment, if you only have one, or if I only had 4 tests, my 4 listings running in my science experiment, that might not be enough tests and enough data to make an accurate analysis from. That is the perspective, and that is why I'm going to be creating a minimum of 25 for that niche. And I'm gonna stay there, focus in on that as I'm building out my shop, which I will check in with you guys and show you all of the data. I'm gonna be documenting this whole process. So this is my call to action of, if you have not already subscribed and you want to follow this series, follow me building this shop, be sure to boop the subscribe button down below. Successfully created 6 new designs, and of those 6 new designs, I did the exact same, duplicating and testing out 2 different style mock-up images for my thumbnail for right now. So drum roll please, of those 6 designs, I created 12 listings. Woo! That is what I'll call a success for today. I have been working on this. Honestly, I did this pretty fast. I was working on this probably from, I would say about 2:30 is when I started creating the designs and working on the listings. It is now 3:17, so a little over 45 minutes. That is not a challenge to think, oh, I should be able to create that many listings in that time frame. The reason that I was able to do so is because I already did the research. I am still designing in the same sub niche that my other 4 listings are in. So I really just repurposed that SEO because the designs that I created are completely relevant and can reuse that SEO. So that was already done for me. I already have my listing template. So in Canva, I have a file of, for this particular product, I have 6 different listing images that I'm using for it, consisting of my mock-ups and any just important product information. That is a template that all I have to do is drag and drop my designs into, and it's already created for me. So the bulk of this work was creating the designs and then just exporting all of the listing images that I needed. And that is what has brought me to my total of 16 listings in this new shop. Almost to a full page. That's my goal. I'm going to continue working towards having a full page of listings. And then of course I'm going to list beyond that. But I think that's a good goal as a starting point for anybody starting a brand new shop or just starting a shop for the first time. Also, I have to share, I don't know how this happens, but every time I start listing in a brand new shop, this is my 3rd new shop or 3rd shop total, but somehow spam accounts find a way to know that you are active, and I already have received my first spam message. It literally looks like this. This obviously looks very spammy because of the name and open then proceed, but I will say sometimes these spam messages can actually be pretty convincing. So just a tip here, if you're ever receiving a message from Etsy, it will literally say from Etsy and it'll actually show up in this complete different inbox. Any messages that you get like this, when you click into it, all you have to do is just report the message as spam. That way it is not going to harm your message response rate if you're going for a star seller badge or anything like that. My two main focuses with this shop right now are consistency and daily activity. My goal is to be creating at minimum 1 listing a day. I'm gonna give myself some grace. It doesn't have to be perfect, but ideally in a perfect world, if I can get somewhere from 5 to 7 listings up a week, I think that would be a fantastic goal so that I'm able to be consistent and be active in this shop. Be sure to boop the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that you do not miss out on any future videos in this series. My next video, I am going to be doing a 2-week update on my stats, on my analytics, and we'll see what has happened in the first 2 weeks from building and launching my shop. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments down below. And as always, I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.